This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, all you crypto boomers, we are back. It's been a couple of weeks. I had to travel and we're back and we're excited. We've got Bud and George and myself on, and we've got a really special treat for you. I haven't had him on for a little while, but the crypto expert, the crypto teacher that we all follow, and that is Crypto Jay. Jay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule. All of us here obviously are part of the Bitcoin Academy and have been so. We're part of the OGs, man. And then of course George is your business partner. He's kind of the technical brains behind the whole thing. And I understand you guys are getting ready to switch over from Patreon to your own platform, which is super exciting. And that's actually happening now, right?
Yes.
We're in the process.
All the credit goes to George. George, take it away there.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're doing that transition starting first week in May, and I'm going to go over the details a little bit more with Jay. And people are chomping at the bit. Let me tell you, they're ready to buy right now. And like, hey, we got to wait for the first week in May for that special link that will get you in.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we have the link under these videos in the future as well, because I can't tell you how important, we've talked about it almost every time we get on here, but how important the education is that Jay and George have provided over the years. And some of it not even about crypto, some of it more about the psychology, and probably the most important part of it for me. So I can't wait to see that next transition and just see where it goes from here. But it is exciting. I talk to people that are new, and it's kind of crazy because after what, 2.5 going on 3 years, is it going on 4 years now? Anyway, whatever it is, we kind of take for granted the teachings and stuff. It's just kind of automatic where it pops up and we start listening and get the content and are blessed by it. But I talk to more people that are new to crypto, I'd say within the past 6 months, that have taken that next step in their personal growth and in their growth to grow wealth, and have joined the Bitcoin Academy and have started listening to Jay and his teachings. I talk to more people that are just blown away by just how it's changing their mentality, how it's changing the way they look at the future. One of them's my sister, and she's a positive person. They own their own businesses, very successful people, but she has really embraced it. She takes pages of notes. And I was over at her place last night, and Jan will be listening to this, so a little shout out to Jan. But she and her boys all listen to it, and it's really refreshing to see somebody that's new at it, that's so excited about it. And I know that gets you excited too, doesn't it, Jay?
It does, absolutely. I have a real heart for seeing the brand newest person come on board and begin to learn and take their future into their hands, versus just being able to find someone on YouTube that's just regurgitating the news that everybody can find and telling you exactly what you need to know. And I would say the only thing that makes me more excited than that is when I see these baby boomers. And I did a podcast this past Sunday for a very large group of baby boomers, and I had a whole host of people in there that were going, well, I've been in your Patreon now for 8 months, and my portfolio's up 4x, and I'm 78 years old. And then there was I think the oldest guy in there was 88 years old. I was just absolutely thrilled, to be helping those folks.
It is exciting. I know that Bud and George and I talk about this frequently, but it's really cool to see. I mean, my sister is a baby boomer. She's on the end of it, but my dad's in it now. He's 82. He's excited. He's one that I had spoken about a few months ago that had lost so much back in the '08 crash, getting ready to retire, and he lost half of his wealth because some brokers decided that he needed to be broker. And it was just a sad thing to see. He kept a positive attitude through the whole thing, but now he's really excited at the potential for growing some wealth in this market, and he's already seeing it. I mean, he just got in January, and kind of started dipping his toe in it, and has followed recommendations that I've given him, and obviously the reason I've given him recommendations is through the education that I've gotten through the Bitcoin Academy and through Jay. But he's super excited to see that he actually can control it. He does ask for some help now and then, you know, with moving money around. He's just not 100% comfortable with that yet, but he is getting there. And this week he made his first trade pretty much by himself. My sister helped him move some money, but other than that, you know, he's really learning, and she's embraced helping him, and it's just really neat to see the legacy that you've created, Jay. I don't even know if you realized you were going to create a legacy like this when you started, but the legacy you've created is all the way from people with millions in the market all the way down to people with just a couple of $1,000s in the market that actually are excited about their future, even in spite of all the chaos and crap that's going on in the world. And Bud was before the show here was talking about some of that. Bud, you want to pop in and talk a little bit about one of the things that you had on your mind that we should all be paying attention to and be thankful that we're in crypto to offset it?
Yeah, Paul, actually just picking up on that point, I do think that the baby boomers have never seen anything like this asset class in their entire life. The movements, the price movements are spectacular, you know, maybe in both directions, but they certainly, you know, seeing like a 10x is never heard of. And, you know, I remember the days of the when I first started working in the city, that the darling of the stock market was a company called Rentokil, and the reason it was so liked is because it had a continuous 20% return every year. And here we are, I mean, looking at the portfolio, 20% in a day. So
right.
These returns are just phenomenal, and getting the psychology correct and the training that we have is, as you say, is so important.
Let me add a little something to that, Paul.
Please.
What a lot of people don't really realize is they don't really realize where their excitement comes from. They think their excitement comes from the fact that a crypto has the capacity to do like a Dogecoin and go up 128 times its price over a 60-day period. They think they're excited about that. That's not really why they're excited. And I think it's important when you discuss the psychology of a marketplace to really understand where your excitement's from, and that way you can channel your energy in the right place. And what it really is that most human beings are born onto this planet, and we come from a beginning stage of, you know, we're playing with dump trucks in the backyard, we're playing in the sandbox, you know, if you're a little girl, you're maybe playing with baby dolls, whatever it is. And then we begin to grow, and then it's all about, you know, I'm going to play kickball at school in the 4th grade, and life is unbelievably fun, and your brain is free. You don't have any, you know, any cares in the world, and you get up to that level where you start thinking about money. Let's call it 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. And people start to think about money, and then they start to see what's actually happening in the world. And for the first time in their life, they're actually really dreaming. If you want to get around a big dreamer, just go find you a 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old person, and they're dreaming big. I mean, they're dreaming about things. They're saying things that everybody in the room kind of turns and looks and goes, "Are you crazy?" And so they're dreaming big. But then all of a sudden, they get hit in the face with life. And I'm going to tell you, within about the first 24 months, of a 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old who's maybe fresh out of college, or maybe they're fresh into their first, big job career. They get hit in the face with life, and all of a sudden, within a 24-month period, all that ability to dream just goes away. And it's the old saying of dies at 25 and waits on their body to catch up sometime down the road. And there's a lot of people that have retired at 65 and they're just dead, and they're just waiting on their body to catch up. And what people are really excited about is what a 128x move produces. It produces this thing that most people are spending their life chasing, called money. And they want to tell you you're bad for having it, but yet they spend their whole life chasing it. I don't spend any time chasing it, but I'm bad for having it. So but the reality is that it's what that can produce in your life. A lot of people will misquote this quote, and they'll say, well, money's the root of all evil. And the reality is that the actual verse, if they want to quote right from the Bible, was the love of money is the root of all evil. And I know people that love it, that have a bunch of it, and I know people that love it that don't have any of it. And so my point is to get around kind of to the truth. And the truth is this market, because it's so forgiving, because I think a lot of people do have a great coach that can keep them in really good trades, I think it's allowing people to dream again. And at 60 years old, at 71 years old, at 88 years old, they're actually, I mean, listen, I've actually experienced this with my father-in-law. He's going to be turning 80 this year in July. And he is over the moon excited about his life, probably for the first time in a long, long time. But it's not really excited about crypto. It's excited about what crypto can produce. And it's giving him the ability all the way out there at 80 years old. He hasn't really had any dreams since he was a young boy. He's told me this. And now all of a sudden he finds himself sitting around dreaming about, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. And that is really the root of where all this excitement is at, and also where people's energy should be. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. You bring up some great points there, and something that we should all recognize. But one of the things that you brought up that really resonated was when we're young, ask kids when they're young, what do you want to be when you grow up? And there is no limitations. They put no limitations on themselves. They'll say a fireman, they'll say the president of the United States, they'll say, an airplane pilot, they'll say an astronaut, they'll say all these different things, and there's no limitations. It's what they are dreaming about. Limitations are put on us by others. And this year, the crypto market kind of removes the traditional limitations that the bankers and finance people and brokers have given us, that, boy, if you can get 10% a year, you're killing it. Don't expect that year in and year out, but if you can get it, then you're killing it. And just imagine if you get that over the course of your working life, you're going to be able to retire. And so they put those limitations on people. They convince them that they need to be part of their 401k at work and put a 10% into their savings, and then they tell them go back to work, and in 40 years you're going to have enough to retire. And so what you said is perfect, Jay, because people are now being able to dream about, okay, I don't have to wait for 40 years. This year, if I put X amount in the market and it does this, I get to, and they're dreaming there again. And so that's a great point. I love that.
And Paul, can I just jump in and say that the other thing that I've really enjoyed is that with Jay and our coach, Jay, you make us think differently about money. And I know that the Financial IQ boot camp that is still on the Bitcoin Academy, that was incredibly refreshing to almost reverse engineer our traditional thinking of money and assets, and flip that around to kind of think about how the rich think about money. And I would highly encourage anyone listening to actually go and check out that boot camp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
I agree.
So Bud, earlier when we were chatting, you had mentioned, obviously there's a lot of chaos going on in the world. The virus that has taken over the world basically, and at least the reactions of people that have taken over the world, and all of the chaos that has ensued over the past, even just the past few months, but over the past year and a half. Why don't you expand on that a little bit, and the repercussions of some of this chaos?
Yeah, well, I'm talking to you from the UK, and we've been in a lengthy lockdown. We're now coming out of this lockdown slowly. There's kind of a government mandate to slowly exit us from the restrictions. But what I'm seeing now with my own eyes, I don't need to look at charts for this, is that we have a recipe for inflation. So we have clearly shortages all around. I mean, everyone now is coming out of this lockdown where they actually did something rather strange, which is save money, didn't spend any money, didn't spend any money on the usual living expenses. And now they've got this kind of pent up energy. There's an exuberance in the air. I can see it. And I think we're getting to what I've been sort of waiting for a number of years, which is that kind of crack out boom inflation. So what I was going to ask Jay is, what your view is, Jay, on inflation over the next 3 to 5 years, how you see it playing out, and is it something governments want?
Yeah, well, I am not the perma bull on inflation. And what I mean by that is, I really think that the powers that be can print money just like they're doing right now. For like, if we look at the fact that they've basically, in a year they've done about 7 trillion. We're not just talking about the stimulus packages. We're also talking about, the repo market and everything, about 7 trillion a year. I think they can do that every year for 10 years and we still don't reach hyperinflation. Now, are we going to have inflation? Yes, we're going to have inflation. Are we going to have hyperinflation? The definition, which most people don't even know, of hyperinflation is that your money supply increases by 50%, meaning that your buying power goes down by 50% over a 30-day period for at least 90 days. And so right now, what we had, if you look back at 2020 for the whole year, we had a 20-month, the actual supply of money went up 25% for the year of 2020. So for a whole year, it went up 25%. And hyperinflation is when you get that 50% increase a month for 3 months in a row. You're in hyperinflation and you will not stop it. There's no stopping it, no matter what government you are, it doesn't matter. It's now hit critical mass and it can't be pulled back. So at 25% a year, what we will have is we will have inflation. And they can do that for, in my opinion, all the way to $100 trillion, and there's still not hyperinflation. Will there be inflation? Yes. Will we notice it? Yes. Are things going to be more expensive? Yes. But if you take the increase in price, and keep in mind, when you start into an inflationary period, the biggest time of growth on the price of things, we were talking about 2x4s before we came on here, how they're $8, $9, $10, depending on where you are in the country right now. And you could have bought those for under $1 or $1.25 just not that many months ago. The big spike in inflation always happens on the front side. And then from there, you get more of a measured growth. So every time we get a 25% increase in the supply of money, the price of the 2x4 is somewhat already baked in, if that makes sense to you. So it is a different phenomenon to look at inflation versus hyperinflation, but I'm just not the big perma bull on the whole idea of hyperinflation. Not right now. Could we get there at some point? Sure. But if you think about how the United States dollar is the wrecking ball for every single currency on the planet, being that we have the petrodollar, and now you've got a lot of countries signaling that they're moving away from the dollar, Russia and China to be the first two. I think that they have to be very careful, and they will, about how they wreck the dollar. I think the wrecking of the dollar has to be a very long, drawn-out process of probably the next 20 years. And in that time, you see a transition into something new, whatever that happens to be, a basket of currencies, probably digitized, da 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 da. So that's a little bit of a long answer, but that's kind of my answer about that.
One of the things, if I can add to this too, is that one of the things that we're seeing is shortages because of a lack of not labor market, but people willing to do the work. I was watching a video last night, a little micro documentary, and it was a farm back west that they had 350,000 pounds of vegetables ready to pick, and they could not get anyone to come and work for $16 an hour, plus their free housing, plus their meals, because of the stimulus package and because of some of the things that have changed down on the border. And so they asked them, what are you going to do with it? And they said, we're going to plow it under. So,
Wow.
They've got, I forget how many acres it was, but they cannot get it harvested. And I'm hearing this from several even local businesses that are putting up signs and advertising jobs and offering to pay a bonus if you'll come to work and stay there for X period of time. It's unbelievable. In one of the cases, my daughter was talking to a guy, and he said, I hired 8 people last week, and one of them's left in a week. And this was back when the stimulus, they finally approved the stimulus. Those people got their stimulus. Happened to most of them got them within that first week period, and they decided they were good for another couple of months, and so they're not working. Another one was a screen printing company out of St. Louis that normally has 48 workers and is down to 21 and can't find people to come in and work for $20 an hour. So I think part of this is driven by that kind of stuff too. It remains to be seen. I don't know. I'm not well enough versed in how all the Weimar Republic and Venezuela and how all that went down. I just know that, like Jay said, the inflation happens over a very, very short period of time, and it gets so out of control that there's no way to stop it. But that said, when you have a sheet of MDF that was $13, or chipboard that was $13 3 months ago, and now it's $78, I mean, think about all the projects that were in process, all the construction projects that were in process, that when that happened, it blew up their budget 40%, and how that's going to affect the construction market. So anyway, the beautiful thing about crypto is we can keep up with and even exceed inflation, which means that we can still grow wealth, because if you're just sticking your money in a savings account and inflation's at 25% a year, at the end of the year, your $100 is $75. But if you have $100 in crypto instead of putting it in a savings, then if you get in the right projects, your $100 could be $1,000, $2,000, 20 times your money. You just mentioned one that was over 100 times your money. So we can keep up with and exceed these types of inflation in this market, as long as you follow the right coach and you're not just following somebody on YouTube that wants to promote the next greatest coin or the next the next thing that he's getting paid to promote. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's the beautiful thing about being a part of the Bitcoin Academy and having Jay keeping us educated. One of the
Hey, Paul, I know George had some comments there as well.
sorry, George. Yes, please.
About the shortages. You were seeing some shortages where you were.
Yeah, I've been talking to a couple people, and one was yesterday, and he was from the auto industry, and he was saying that rubber you're going to see that in a short supply right now. Actually, it's in a short supply at this moment, in iron and paint. Sherwin-Williams plant down in Texas is still trying to recover from the freeze that they had. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, and Apple and big tech, they're having problems with the chips. And I know car companies are having problems getting not only paint, but chips for production. So it's kind of snowballing in so many different sectors of the market that it's rather interesting. And depending on what you're looking to acquire, it can be a little bit troubling too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, a lot of these companies are being silly. They should take crypto, shouldn't they, for payment? And I'm finding it harder and harder to actually pay in crypto. Maybe you can buy a Tesla, but I can't even buy a Tesla here in the UK in Bitcoin. It's only in the US. I mean, how silly is that? It's supposed to be a global currency, and yet, they just don't. They obviously want to let a certain group of people in first before then retail public are allowed in. But I just want to switch. Sorry.
Only one answer to this, guys. There's only one answer to it. And the answer is not crypto. The only answer to everything we're talking about is no matter what you're doing in life, you have to out earn it.
Mm.
You have to out earn the price of gas. You have to out earn the price of rubber. You have to out earn the price of copper going up, because now everybody's making electrical cars, and electrical cars take 10 times more copper to make than a regular car. You've got to out earn it. And in my opinion, the high flyers like a Dogecoin, while they're great and amazing, if you're in the process of taking your wealth and you're trying to increase your wealth to out earn, for example, the 25% money supply, the M1 money supply that went up 25%, to me, I can't put my wealth in Dogecoin.
Mm-hmm.
But I can put my wealth in a coin like NEO, that now all across YouTube in the last 4 days, every big YouTuber out there is coming out and giving you their reason why you should be buying NEO. Wait a minute, NEO's gone up 40 times its price.
Yeah.
What do you mean now be buying? You've missed your opportunity to out earn your inflation, because now you're going to get in NEO and it's going to go from 100 to 350, and most people aren't even going to know how to capture that portion of it, and they're going to still sit in at 350 all the way back to 100, because again, they're listening to their smart YouTuber. See, these people on YouTube, I'm not here to put them down by any means.
Well, we're on YouTube, Jay.
Yes, I know. But you guys are doing something a little bit different. You guys are promoting awareness, and those guys are telling people, they're touting themselves as the answer to crypto for one reason, because 300,000 people are following them. And so they're on a little bit of an ego trip, even if you can't pick up on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a little bit of an ego trip. Oh, I'm like a movie star. I have 390,000 subscribers. Look at me. I'm the bomb. And therefore, when I speak, people should listen. And it's a bit of an ego trip. I'm not on YouTube in the sense of having 390,000 followers, nor do I want that, okay? But even if I did, I would still humbly tell people, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Do the best you can, because nobody knows. But here's what I can tell you. We put our group into NEO starting at about, I think, $11, $13, somewhere in there. And then basically anytime it was below those prices, we were loading up, we were loading the boat, and we bought it. I know I personally bought it as low as about $4.35. And now for it to be hitting $150, most recently, I think $143, and us being up, you know, so many X factors on our money, we have out-earned the cost of gas. We have out-earned the cost of the price for a loaf of bread. We've out-earned the next time you need to get tires and they're no longer $4.50 a set, they're $9.75 a set.
Mhm.
We've out-earned it.
Yep.
But that's the value of being involved in crypto, where you've got at least a little bit of education or maybe a track record, or what I like to call a minefield to walk through, where you walk behind someone who's made all the mistakes before in their career. I still make mistakes in crypto. I'm not a non-mistake person. You know, the people within our community, they kind of brag and they go, well, you know, he's never had a losing trade in crypto. Every target he's ever put out's been hit, including one 3 or 4 days ago that we put out 15 months ago, got hit recently, and so we took that profit. And we went into something else. But the point is that nobody's going to get it right 100% of the time. But if you could follow along with a coach, especially a coach that's not a butthead, a coach that knows how to be humble, a coach that is not, you know, making out like, hey, I said it, so it's going to happen. No, it's none of that garbage. But if you could follow along with a coach who's walked through those minefields before, and when they do make a mistake, they recover quickly. They recover very quickly, because I've had the opportunity to make a lot of mistakes in the past. And so you begin to learn, hey, when I'm going to recover, how do I recover quickly? And I'll tell you something, there's a lot of people that, when you think about success, that are flying way too close to the ground. They're not giving themselves the ability to soar. And that's one of the things I see crypto opens the door for people, and it gives them the ability to not fly so close to the ground. They get that opportunity to soar. But again, it's like you guys have mentioned, and I agree with you, you really have to have kind of that support system, a good coach, someone that can find good trades. Because as you get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier, again, how much of that do you feel comfortable about just gambling and throwing in a Dogecoin, or gambling and throwing in a red coin? I don't feel good about that. I feel really good about having the thousands and thousands and thousands of NEO that I hold. I feel really good about that. But I wouldn't feel good if I had $500,000 sitting in Dogecoin. Not me personally.
Well, and one of the things that you teach is diversification, obviously, and we've talked about the perfect portfolio you have, and that's a project that I've kind of embraced and created a spreadsheet on. But the cool thing about it is, well, one of the stories you tell is somebody that contacted you here a while back about a guy that put everything in PPT because somebody told him it was going to go to the moon. And you know, like you said, that may work out this time, and he may make millions of dollars, but his mentality is completely wrong in the sense that the next time he'll lose it all. Whereas, you know, like you talk about, there's certain projects that you want to put an Italian dinner on, but there's, as you say, but there's many projects out there, Neil being one, and you know, I won't go into all the other ones, but several of them out there that are top tier that you want to be well diversified in, that you want to allow your money to grow in safer in those projects. Is that right, Jay? Am I saying that right?
100%. And also, you know, you can just kind of pull away from NEO, and NEO is just one of those projects where the Chinese government, it's their top adoption project is NEO, yet that nobody even notices that. And so that's why you haven't heard from NEO from the YouTubers in forever. They're too busy talking about the greatest coin that's going to pump 100x. Here's what you need to know. Well, how about Qtum? I've been talking to people about buying Qtum for 2.5 years. You can't find a video on YouTube about Qtum, but Qtum's gone from $1 to $20 pretty doggone quick, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's a project that is under heavy accumulation and adoption by the governments and the people of Korea. Do you guys know how serious Korea is about their loyalty to their thing? Seriously loyal, just like China. And that's how come this project went from 49 cents to $21.16. So we're talking about a 42x your money in 1 year. 42x your money, and nobody mentioned it. And it's a top tier project that nobody's talking about. Oh, that project's dead. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see
Right.
if it's dead.
And I was thinking, Paul, some of those trades that Jay's got us involved with, and it was just an Italian dinner, would actually pay for the four of us to go to Italy, drink some nice wine, drive a Ferrari.
And maybe even take a NetJet.
That's right. That's right. My Dustin, my business partner, he put some money down on in an account. His wife wants an R8, and he put $5,000 in there in one of them, and he's getting pretty close to paying $5,000 for an R8. So, and that's over $100,000. So, you know, that's the beauty of the market. And, you know, like Jay says, there's some that you just want to speculate on, and it works out. Some of them don't. I mean, I've got some that, you know, I speculated on and they haven't worked out, but I'm so far spread out that you know, you just don't feel those. You know what I mean? You don't. It doesn't kill you like the guy with buying PPT. The next time he may buy ABC and lose it all, and that is not the type of advice that you want to follow. So that's the beauty of all of the training and the thousands of videos and training that Jay has done over the last few years, and it's definitely helped keep. I think it's just as important to stay out of a bad trade as it is to get into a good one. Would you guys agree?
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And
anyway, I know.
here's the other side of that, Paul. There's a
Uh-huh.
lot of people that come into the investment world and they don't know how to get into a good trade, and they don't know how to get out of a good trade. And that's the value of learning and understanding that is so much more than being able to tell somebody how to read the code of the next latest, greatest DeFi project. If you don't know how to get into a good trade, and then once you're in it, you don't know how to get out of a good trade, it doesn't matter how much else you know about the code. All you're going to do is, you know, here's what'll happen, guys. There's going to be people this bull market that get into crypto and their portfolios go up 20x, 50x, 100x the price, and they're going to ride it all the way back down because they don't understand how to get in a good trade, and they don't understand how to also get out of a good trade.
Yeah, so true.
Yep.
So true. All right. Well, I know that you've got a lot going on, Jay, and I really appreciate we really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. I know you've got another call. I think you've already had a 2-hour this morning, and now this, and now you've got another one coming up here in about 15, 20 minutes. So
Yes.
better let your jaw rest for a few minutes before you get on that call. Is there anything that you want to finish with? And you guys, Bud and George, you guys have anything else?
I'll just throw this in there. If folks are listening to this on YouTube, I would encourage them, irregardless of whether it's me or not, if you're new and you're searching crypto videos on YouTube and you run across this video, I would encourage you to find a good coach. And here's how you know you have a good coach. A good coach is kind of like a good tree. A good tree will produce good fruit. and a good coach will produce good fruit. If you can look around the players on the team of the coach and you see that it's producing good fruit, it's probably a good coach. And when you find that good coach, like I say, I'm not saying it has to be me. I don't care. My personality is not for everybody, but for those that it's for, and for my coaching style, if you find a good coach, stay with that coach and be a part of that team and allow that fruit to develop in your life. Because if you're just jumping around all the time from this service to that service, I'll try this guy, maybe he's making more money, maybe that guy, maybe this guy. Here's what you'll be. You'll be the person that misses the entire rollout of crypto because you were busy jumping around everywhere trying to find that perfect scenario where you're going to make the most money, and you missed the whole show, and you probably lost money along the way. Get a good coach and stay there.
Well, I tell you what, that's probably some of the best advice that anybody could take is right there. That's fantastic advice. And with that, I think that's a great way to end the video. You guys make sure you click subscribe, click the bell. That way you get notifications when we post some new videos. I know Bud did a video here recently that we'll be posting probably in the next week or so. So I can't wait to get that up. This one here will be posted today, and I guess you'll know that because you'll be listening to it already. And so anyway, with that, guys, just remember, it's not just investing. We are creating wealth. And all you crypto boomers out there, just remember that. Have a great day and find a great coach. And I think Bud and I and George all agree that we've got, in our opinion, the best one out there. I've seen a lot, and I think Jay won't say it, but I will. And I think we've got the best coach out there. And if you guys like what you hear and want to have Jay as a coach as well, then go ahead and make sure you visit the bitcoinacademy.net, right, George?
Yep, bitcoinacademy.net. And you couldn't have said it better, Paul. I agree 100%.
That's awesome, Bud. Across the pond, you guys are you guys are opening up a little bit, and you're going to be able to have some meals outside. So at least that's a step in the right direction, man. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, Paul, my final leaving thought is that you mentioned an Audi R8. And I know a senior guy at Aldi. Yeah, we went for a drive. I must have confessed I was a little bit disappointed that when I heard the engine, I thought, this sounds amazing. And he said, I'll tell you the secret. There's a sound box in the back that actually mimics the sound of the engine.
What? You should never tell. There's things you should never tell people, and that's one of them.
Keep that between us, yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
No kidding. I hope Dustin doesn't hear that. All right, guys. Sounds great. Everybody have a great week, and like we say, keep on creating wealth.